Hi there, everyone. Billy Young from Fit Body Boot Camp. I wanted to come to you on this Thoughtful Thursday with an elaborate message that I've been hearing over the past year. I've been sort of on a personal journey. I know that you may not have, but my belief is that selflessness is selfishness. If we work on ourselves, we can change the world around us, and it starts with one single person, and it starts inside of us. Oftentimes we need to, if we want there to be a change to our outer world, it is only going to be a result of a change in our inner world. So as a part of my journey, I've been going to many events, and my most recent event was Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins. And it was, it's always great to hear him speak. And then Joseph McClendon III is a great speaker. He's very motivating, very inspiring, I should say, and very, very smart and funny. So I had the pleasure of listening to both those guys speak at a 4-day event. It was very intensive, a lot of information that I haven't quite mastered myself, but that I am mastering through study and repetition. And so I just want to kind of invite you all to go on this journey with me. Again, 10 months ago, I kind of took a hard look at myself and knew that there were some things and areas for improvement in my life, and I really wasn't sure where to start. Should I get this degree or that certification? Should I, whatever it was. And I really had this idea that it was really work on my inner self, my own limiting belief systems that were holding me back and keeping me stuck. And I thought, well, if I can learn how to fix myself, then of course I'll be, and I don't want to say fixed because I'm not broken. I wasn't broken then, I'm not broken now. But I do want to expand my mind, and I do want to identify areas within myself that are maybe holding me back from having an extraordinary life, as Tony Robbins says, or as Brendon Burchard says, another mentor of mine, reaching the best version of myself, being my highest self. And it kind of gets a little bit deep. We're all made of energy. We're all connected in one way. And if we don't start improving and raising our own energy, humankind is at stake. And I really won't go into that. But basically, if I can improve myself, raise my own energy level, be in that peak state, that loving state, that compassionate state more often, I will have a profound impact on all the people around me. That impact will affect the people around them. So therefore, it's a tidal wave of compassion and love. So on this journey, I thought, well, where do we start? We start with a goal in mind. We start with the end in mind. And so that's what today's Thoughtful Thursday is. It's like, what makes us happy? Progress makes us happy. Anytime we feel like we're moving forward, we are happy. And a tip that I want to give you now, and I hope that sticks, is that as you get closer to one goal, set another so that you're constantly moving in that forward motion. Because the second you start to stand still, you start to regress, you start to go backwards. And there's no other better analogy than the clients that I serve, the people that I serve in Fit Body Boot Camp. I watch people very often reach a goal and they start to gain all the weight back because they haven't set a new goal. And so we've done a lot within our program to prevent that from happening. But I've lost some people in the past because I wasn't aware of this one fact. So I hope to never lose another client again simply because we didn't see that they were reaching that goal and hadn't set a new one. However, there is something that prevents some people from even setting a goal, and that one thing is fear. We have two primary fears. The fear that we're not enough and the fear that we won't be loved. Those are the two primary fears, but there are a lot of other fears that play a part in that. So we don't even realize those fears are underlying because we're so fear of rejection, we're so fear of failure, we're so fearful of the past repeating itself, fear that we're going to waste time, that we're going to waste money, that we're going to waste our energy. And here's the thing, we cannot live in the past. Our past is not a part of our future. It is just that. It is not indicative of the life that we can make for ourselves. Once we can release that, then we can tackle fears as they arise. You have to stop looking in the rearview mirror or stop focusing on what you're afraid of. Joseph McClendon actually told a story about how he lived in this sleepy town in California, And it was this long desert road, and they had telephone poles. I guess they were about 20 yards apart. So people would get tired and they'd fall asleep at the wheel. They'd wake up because they would go off road, but they had 20 yards to miss this one telephone pole. Yet so many times people kept hitting the telephone poles. So he asked the audience, why do you think people so often hit the telephone poles when they had this big wide space in between the poles where they could have just missed it and, stopped the car and gotten back on the road and saved themselves a lot of pain, essentially. And it was because they were focused on the pole. They were focused on the thing that they didn't want to achieve instead of being focused on what they did want to achieve, which was missing the telephone pole. And it's so simple. It's simple, but it's not easy, as Brendon Burchard says, because we are hardwired. Our society has hardwired us and programmed us to kind of be a little bit negative. And so we are almost hardwired to live in this stressful state versus a non-stressful state. And so the first step is just to be aware of our own mind. We need to be aware of our mind and set a goal. So be aware of the state that you're living in. Are you obsessing over the past? Are you living in fear of the future? And if you are, come back to the present, because what's happened in the past does not have to repeat itself. And most of the time, what you're most afraid of isn't actually going to happen, and it's just a story that you're telling yourself, and it's not actually representative of what's going on. It's so far blown. But if you don't interrupt that state, if you don't recognize those limited beliefs, you can't break them. And so we have to be mindful. We have to be aware of our state of mind. And then we need to go into gratitude by journaling and writing down what we're grateful for. And we need to write down our goals and be very, very specific. And you can't just think about them. I mean, that is nice. It is good to get yourself into that positive state of mind. It's not even a positive state of mind necessarily. It's this beautiful state, this conscious state, this aware state, this present moment where the life is happening around you, and it's wonderful and it's safe and it's loving. Hope, maybe not always, but hopefully for you and those that are watching this or reading my emails. So write down your goals and be very, very specific. When you write them down, there's an actual process that happens within our nervous system. It's our neurons start firing, and physical changes can actually really happen. And there's a lot of research. So please go out and do some Google searches. I am not Google, so I do not have those things, but I do believe it, and I do know it to be true from personal experience. So that's number one. Be aware of your mindset and be very clear with your goals and write them down. That's actually a few things in one, but we're going to group those together to keep this a pretty simple process. And then we want to talk about number two, which is going to be writing down your reason why. So there's two types of motivation. There's push and pull. Push is not the effortless motivation that we seek. That's like pushing a boulder uphill. We want pull motivation, and we needed the reason we're going to find that, or how we're going to find that, how we're going to be pulled effortlessly towards our goal, is by really understanding our reason why. And oftentimes we need a process for this, and a lot of people think their reason why is that they just want to weigh 10 pounds less. No. You don't want to just weigh 10 pounds less. You are going after a feeling, my friend, and that feeling could be that of confidence, self-confidence. I know for me, I made huge changes, huge leaps forward in my own physical state and mental state by just getting to a point where the pain was so unbelievable. I cried. I missed out on experiences with my friends and my family because I just didn't have the confidence to put on the clothes, the bathing suit, whatever it was, to go to the beach or go on a vacation. My now husband, but boyfriend at the time, broke up with me twice because of my lack of self-esteem. I missed professional opportunities because of my lack of confidence. So that pain just became so deep. I had no choice but to make a change in the moment. And I took control of my physical body first. So if you look at the 7 areas for growth that Tony Robbins believes we need to master in order to have an extraordinary life, the foundation is mastering your physical body. So know your reason why so that you can be pulled towards your goal. There is a process called the 5 whys, where you kind of ask yourself why 5 times so that you can get to your real why, your real problem, because people don't fail, processes do, but you can never fix the problem if you don't truly know what it is. So how do you know the process of fixing the problem if you don't know what the problem is? So the 5 whys may be necessary, maybe not if you're just being honest with yourself. So really define that why. Number 3 here is, again, you know, getting out of the past, getting out of that state of mind, focusing on the goal, not the problem. So be pulled forward, and focus is going to go where energy flows, where focus goes. So do not allow yourself to be pulled into that negative state of mind, and that can happen, you know, by your own beliefs. So let's replace some of those limiting beliefs with empowering beliefs, and take a hard look at the people you surround yourself with, because unfortunately the people that we love the most can fall prey to some of these negative belief systems, these limiting belief systems. And it's not that you need to just disconnect from them entirely, but take a look at the relationships that you have, and how much how vulnerable you are with them, and how much you allow them to come into your space. So finally, number 4 is rinse and repeat. So not always is the first strategy, the how, going to be perfect. You need to know your why, you need to know your what, and then you need to know your how and take that massive action and actually do something. Just knowing won't get you there, but because you do need to in fact do things to get to your goal, and I think we all know that. But they'll seem less efforting and more effortless if we're pulled towards them and we understand why we're doing them, and we have a clear plan and clear way to measure that process. And then it just becomes a matter of repetition. And it does take a little bit of time, so give yourself a reasonable timeline to reach your goals. But, you know, it's a 2 millimeter shift often, so you don't have to just completely zig or zag every single time something doesn't get what you want. Look at what you're doing, repeat it if it's getting results. If it's not getting results, fine tune it just a little bit, but don't change strategies completely, because I can tell you, a lot of my clients, the one reason they might not be losing weight is because they're not getting enough water, because they're not pooping enough. You know, simple as that one little thing. And a lot of times we need a coach to tell us that. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, questions, please post them up below. Share it with friends. Listen, be the wish you change to see in the world. We all have a social responsibility to pass on the knowledge and the wisdom that we learn through our own journey. So please do that for your peers, your family, your friends, your loved ones. Thank you so much. Have an amazing, amazing day.